Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome two great friends of JCRC. Both participated in our missions to Israel, and each one received our Public Service Award. New York State Attorney General Letitia James and New York State Comptroller Tom DiNapoli.
So Tom and I were just arguing as to who goes first, but he pushed me, so here I am. I want to thank you for that kind introduction, and I want to thank JCRC for inviting me to say a few words. It's truly an honor and a privilege to be here with the Jewish Community Relations Council of Greater New York, one of our city's premier agencies dedicated to building relationships to advance the values, the interests, and the security of the New York Jewish community, and to create a more interconnected New York for all. Before I turn to tonight's awardees, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the precarious position we find ourselves in after this weekend's strikes on Iran and the retaliatory missile attacks this afternoon on the United States military base in Qatar. First and foremost, I am thinking about New Yorkers and our collective public safety. And I look forward to working with NYPD, FBI, and all agencies to secure our safety and to secure the safety of the Jewish community. We are the world's capital. We are the world's capital, and we know that what happens overseas shows up at our houses of worship, at our doorsteps, at our religious and our ethnic enclaves, and our civic organizations. And we cannot allow that to be preordained. We must fight the urge to allow the world to divide us, and we must remain steadfast in our work for peace, cooperation, and understanding. And those who wish to raise the temperature, to inflame tensions, to make their fellow New Yorkers, bless you, we reject the politics of fear. Instead, we must join arms together for a New York and a world that is safe for all, and that welcomes all, and that draws strength from our differences. I pray each and every night for our troops and for law enforcement safety as they bravely step into harm's way over the coming weeks and months, whether here in New York or overseas. It's really critically important that I also must say that at this time in our state and in our nation that we must remain together. And it's critically important, as I have said repeatedly, that as an African American woman who understands hate and who has been the victim of hate, that I stand with the Jewish community each and every time. And that I remember and recall the stories that my parents taught to me during the civil rights struggle about the role that the Jewish community played during the civil rights struggle. It is for that reason and I think it sort of underscores the need for education. Education in our public schools, but most importantly, education around our kitchen tables, as my parents did with me and my siblings. We also mourn the lives lost in the recent days, and we pray for a quick end to this conflict and a lasting peace. And with that, I am deeply humbled to share the stage with tonight's honorees, men and women who personify the message of unity, friendship, and peace that JCRC spreads both near and afar. Congratulations to all of them. Yeah. We celebrate their work in these difficult times because we have seen an alarming increase in anti-Semitism, not just in countries far away, but right here in my home, in New York City. And with the current climate, there is an urgent need for steadfast allies to speak up each and every time. Individuals who aspire to create a more, better, and a greater understanding of each other. And this is especially crucial given the spike in anti-Semitic attacks and hate crimes following the October 7th Hamas attacks. And I stand with all of you in demanding that the hostages be returned. Friends and allies of the Jewish community must speak up, and we must speak up often, no matter what the political winds bring, and no matter the outcome of tomorrow, it's important that we stand together. And it's important that we tell individuals who we may disagree with that you need to come to the table and speak to the Jewish community and not ignore them, not now, not ever. Because I was taught that ignorance serves as a foundation for bigotry and hate, and that ignorance serves as a deep well, a refuge for those who unfortunately are without knowledge and understanding, and those who reject knowledge and education and understanding. I will always be an ally and partner of this community, and I will support safety measures for the Jewish community as I did as the city council member and as public advocate. I also want you to know that as the Attorney General of the state of New York, we've sued the Department of Homeland Security to protect $44 million in grant funding that supports non-for-profits and faith-based organizations against extremist attacks. And I want all of you to know that funding supports security for Jewish day schools and synagogues, even more important after the recent atrocities in Boulder, Colorado, and in Washington, D.C. And I want you to know that we were successful in getting a TRO in that case. We also sent a letter to the interim United States Attorney for the Southern District praising their work in taking on housing discrimination against the Orthodox community in Forestburg in the Hudson Valley. And it's really critically important that we stand with them and work with them against any divisive and rezonings that are targeted towards the Jewish community. These are just a few steps that my office has taken to ensure and protect the safety, the health and welfare of our Jewish community. I will always stand by you to create a better and a more humane community and bring individuals together as one. And I thank you, JCRC, for being partners in our shared effort. And I want to thank my good friend and my buddy, the Comptroller of the state of New York, for standing by my side and for always allowing me to go first.
Good evening, everyone. It is always great to stand next to the most outstanding Attorney General of the United States of America, the Honorable Tish James. Give another round of applause for everything she does for all of us. And it's so wonderful during these perilous days to see this tremendous outpouring of support, this great attendance, the support for JCRC New York. Give yourselves a round of applause for being here and supporting JCRC. Congratulations to all the honorees, certainly well-deserving. We appreciate all that you've done for the Jewish community, for the larger community of New York. You're well-deserving of the recognition. Certainly appreciation to the JCRC team. Mark Traeger, CEO, and the staff. Always a privilege to work with each and every one of you. Also, obviously, the Gala president, Cheryl Fishbein, outgoing in every way, in my book. Thank you for everything you've done, Cheryl. Good luck to David Moore with your new role. You've heard it said, you'll hear it, I'm sure, as the night goes on. We are living through very challenging times, and the impactful work of JCRC in New York is more important today than it's ever been. The rise of anti-Semitism, not just around the world or in the United States, but right here in New York. And that's why I appreciate your efforts, Attorney General, to deal with that issue very, very directly. All the challenges that Israel is facing these days that we're all very well aware of. The work of JCRC to empower and unite the Jewish community is absolutely essential. And the work to build coalition with all communities is certainly just as important. I've had the privilege over the years to participate in some of those missions to Israel, going back to my days in the State Assembly. Always ably led by CEO Emeritus Michael Miller, I might add. Yeah, give Michael a round of applause. But no trip was more impactful than the one in February of 2024, not that long after the October 7th massacre. To be in Israel at that time, to visit a kibbutz that was overrun, to meet with families of hostages, to be at the Nova Music Festival site, to meet one of the young people who survived that terrible experience there at Nova. It really left such an impression. Every trip to Israel leaves an impression, but that one really is seared in my memory and in my heart. And certainly when I came back, it only strengthened the resolve that I have always had, and certainly in my current role, as Chief Financial Officer for New York State and trustee of the State Pension Fund, to be very, very clear when the issue is raised that in New York State, we are against BDS. We are against boycott, divestment, and sanctions on Israel. And I'm very pleased to continue to report to you that not only do we not support BDS, but in fact, we have continued to invest in Israel, and after October 7th, we're the largest state purchaser of Israel bonds, I should point out. And after October 7th, we actually redoubled our efforts to purchase Israel bonds, including as recently as last week. So I want to thank JCRC, not only during these challenging times of 2025, but over the many years that I've had the privilege to be in public life and to be associated with you. I have learned from this organization. I have benefited from the friendship, and I will always stand in partnership with JCRC New York. Thank you all, and have a great evening.